Hi, I'm Brian Cannan from Think Real Estate, and today I have with me Brad Miles, one of our team members. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Brian.
Brad is a trainer and assessor and specialises in real estate compliance. And at Think Real Estate, we have a product called ComCheck. Brad, could you explain to me what a ComCheck is?
Certainly, Brian. A ComCheck is a full compliance audit of your office to ensure that you're acting under the law within the Property Stock and Business Agents Act, its regulations, the Residential Tenancy Act and its regulations.
If I'm an owner of the office or the principal, why would I really want one of these done?
It really is peace of mind for you, Brian, as the owner, to make sure that your office is compliant with all the acts and regulations that control the way a real estate business must be run.
How often would you recommend you'd get one done?
You really should have them done annually.
Every 12 months, you think?
Every 12 months, I would say yes.
And what do you do when you do a compliance check or a ComCheck?
Well, actually start before I get to your office, Brian.
How do you mean?
I look at your website and I compare that to the records that Fair Trading hold to make sure that all your employees have certificates of registration and they are current, or they have licences and they are current. You'd be surprised how many people are working on expired licences and certificate of registrations.
And then when you arrive at the office?
First thing I look at is the front door to make sure it has the appropriate signage on the front door in relation to who owns the business and who is running the business.
Do licensees have to be on the door?
They certainly do. If it's a corporation, you must have the corporation details on the door and who is the licensee in charge of the business. All other licence holders must be on the front door as well, and just their name and the type of licence they hold. For example, if I worked at that office, it would be Brad Miles, Real Estate Agent's Licence.
And then once you open that front door, what do you look at then?
Well, the first thing I look at then is a copy of all the licence and certificates to make sure that they're on hand, they are current. Then I move on to the CPD certificates.
Do you take a selection of files?
I certainly do, Brian. I look at both sales and property management files to make sure that they contain all the required information and documentation, and including, and this is very important, mandatory disclosure documents.
Agency agreements you look at?
Certainly do look at the agency agreements, both the sales agency agreements and the property management's agency agreements, again to make sure they've been filled in correctly so the agent can actually get paid.
That's important.
It certainly is.
Brad, in all the compliance audits that you've done, have all the officers passed?
Unfortunately, Brian, no officers passed.
None?
None.
Not one?
Not yet, no.
So what can you do to help them become compliant?
Within 48 hours of the audit, I'll provide the principal with a written report. I'll then come back to the office and go through that report with him. And if he needs help with, say, for example, the supervision guidelines, I can provide them to him.
You can provide him with the supervision guidelines to make him compliant?
Certainly. We have the Section 32 supervision guidelines as a product.
And if someone was watching this video and all they needed was those guidelines, could they contact you and get them?
Certainly can, Brian. We have those guidelines available. They can be emailed to the office immediately.
And you were telling me the other day that one of the principals asked if you'd come back and train the whole staff around your compliance audit. In other words, making sure that everyone understood what needed to be done.
That's correct, Brian. I've come back to offices and conducted CPD points throughout the office in relation to where the deficiencies were and what the agents needed to do.
So you can train them and they can get their CPD points at the same time?
That's correct.
That's got to be an advantage to them.
It certainly is, and that's why a lot of the principals are doing in-house CPD with us.
Well, Brad, thank you very much for joining us today. I think that's very interesting.
Thank you, Brian.